back to the Lawsome Sauce podcast, your go-to for breaking down today's most compelling legal stories that are shaping the foundations of tomorrow. I'm PJ.
And I'm Harper. Back with us today is Etan Mark of Mark, Migdal, and Hayden. Etan's here to dive back into the RICO rabbit hole with us.
Hi,
Hey,
Etan.
Hey, PJ and Harper, thanks for taking the time to talk with me about RICO, my favorite subject.
We're grateful to have you here. Everybody, we will have Etan lean in later. But first, let's set the scene. Today's episode takes us into the world of business rivalries gone rogue, where online defamation, trademark abuse, and RICO violations led to a staggering $12.5 million judgment.
We're talking about Hartman versus Sells, pending in the United States Court of Appeals, 11th Circuit. It's a case where a real estate mogul fought back against a competitor's vicious smear campaign, and won big.
But was this just dirty business tactics, or did it cross the line into organized crime? Let's find out.
Imagine that you are a successful real estate investor and podcaster. Your business is thriving, and then suddenly, your name and brand are being dragged through the mud all over the internet. That's what happened to Jason Hartman, who runs Platinum Properties Investor Network and the Hartman Media Company.
Who was the mastermind behind the attack?
It was Charles Sells and the Pip Group, a competing real estate investment firm.
But Sells didn't just criticize Hartman. Instead, he allegedly built an entire ecosystem of fake websites, misleading emails, and defamatory posts to crush Hartman's reputation and steal his clients.
And it worked. Hartman's business revenue dropped over 40%, while Sells' company nearly doubled in revenue.
The tactics included registering fake domain names mimicking Hartman's brand, and creating the Broke Guru website dedicated to defaming Hartman. Also, sending misleading email blasts pretending to be from Hartman and using SEO manipulation to push defamatory content to the top of search results.
In the world of real estate investing, trust is everything, and this campaign was designed to obliterate Hartman's credibility totally.
When Hartman realized what was happening, he took action, filing a lawsuit against Sells, the PIP Group, and their associates. His claims included RICO violations, alleging an organized scheme to commit fraud and deception,
False advertising and unfair competition, trademark infringement, and cyber squatting.
an invasion of privacy and defamation.
The jury didn't just side with Hartman, they hit Sells and his associates with $12.5 million in damages. The award included $500,000 in punitive damages, $3 million for emotional distress, and 3 times that, $9 million for the RICO violations.
The RICO charge was the game changer. It meant that the court saw this as more than just business rivalry, it was organized, systematic fraud.
Sells and his team appealed, arguing that their actions didn't meet the legal threshold for a RICO violation. They argued there was no ongoing criminal enterprise, just a one-time effort to destroy a business competitor.
But the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals wasn't buying it. They ruled that the scheme posed a continued threat to Hartman's business,
And that the defendants took steps to conceal their actions, proving intent.
and the court found the damages were justified based on the scale of harm caused.
The ruling set a precedent for how online defamation and fraud cases can trigger severe legal consequences under RICO laws. Etan, I know you found this case fascinating, but what particularly caught your attention?
What I really like about this Hartman case and what I find interesting about it is this focus on continuity and what continuity means in the context of RICO. So for those of us who are not as nerdy on RICO as I am, in order to state a claim under RICO, you've got to allege continuity, which is sort of a variation of the requirement that you have to allege a pattern of racketeering conduct. So the Supreme Court has read that to mean continuity, and continuity can be one of two things. It can be open-ended or close-ended. Open-ended continuity is a scheme that's capable of repetition into the future, and it could be just a few acts in a fairly short period of time, but if there is a suggestion that these acts are going to continue at some point in the future, then that could suffice to meet the continuity requirement. That could be considered open-ended continuity, and the court may find that there's therefore a pattern of racketeering activity. Closed-ended continuity is where you've got a bunch of predicate acts in a fairly discrete period of time. It could be a short period of time, and that closed-ended continuity could be enough without having to show that there's necessarily a threat of repetition. So when I first read this case, I believed that there was probably a failure to meet that continuity and pattern requirement. It really seemed to me that you have here a discrete scheme. It's targeted against one particular person. And generally speaking, courts have found pretty consistently that where you have a single scheme with a discrete goal and really a single victim, or even a single group of victims, that's usually not going to be enough to show a pattern of racketeering activity.
What did the court see here that made the difference?
The court found that when you have a defendant who has testified that he wants to destroy a plaintiff, in this case to crush him emotionally and personally, and there's emails that show that the smear campaign was actually working and helping him out, under those facts, the court concluded that that could be enough to demonstrate the threat of repetition at some point in the future. And on that basis, the court found that there could be a pattern of racketeering conduct, and therefore open-ended continuity was found here. And it upheld a jury verdict of many millions of dollars on that basis. It's a little bit of an unusual case. You don't usually see a pattern of racketeering conduct found when you have a discrete scheme such as this. But in this particular case, the 11th Circuit found that there was that pattern. So to all the plaintiffs' lawyers out there you go.
There you go indeed. Thank you, Etan. Take heed, everyone. Online smear campaigns can have real legal consequences, and this case proves that weaponizing the internet can lead to multi-million-dollar judgments. RICO isn't just for the mafia. If a business scheme involves fraud, deception, and ongoing harm, it can qualify under racketeering laws.
Remember, appealing doesn't always help. If the evidence of intent is strong, courts will uphold RICO rulings even if the defendants claim their actions were a one-time event.
Initially, this case seemed like a one-time targeted attack, which usually wouldn't meet the continuity requirement. But the defendant's own words changed everything.
Sell's emails and testimony that he wanted to destroy Hartman, professionally and personally, suggested an ongoing intent to continue the pattern of racketeering, and this was what supported the open-ended continuity argument.
The big takeaways from this case are: defamation campaigns can have RICO consequences. This isn't just a PR problem. It can become a multi-million-dollar lawsuit.
Continuity matters. If there's evidence of ongoing intent, a RICO claim can succeed even with a single target.
And finally, your words do matter. The defendant's own emails and statements sealed his fate in this case. So, whether you're a business owner, marketer, or professional who is proactively competing for attention in the online world, this case is a major warning.
That's a wrap on today's Lawsome Sauce podcast. Hartman vs. Sell shows just how serious online attacks can get, and why business owners need to protect their reputation, legally and strategically.
If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, leave a review, and let us know your thoughts. Have you ever seen online defamation cases go this far? Drop us a comment.
And as always, Lawsome Sauce is for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice. If you're dealing with a legal issue, talk to a lawyer.
And anyway, you should never take legal advice from kids.
Thanks for tuning into the Lawsome Sauce podcast.
Until next time.
Stay curious and stay informed.